Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Interjections podcast, subtitled The Undiscovered Decade. We're up to February 1994. We go through the 90s and we look back at films that we think could have been hidden gems. And we added a new feature last month, which I will share with you now. We have a little wheel to have one of the four of us pick who's going to do the synopsis for the movie we chose for February 1994. So let's get right to it. Oh my God, I picked Jimmy again. Jimmy went in January, and the whole thing was he was going to be able to not have to go again because you can put in how many times someone's gone.
If I get it again next month, that means I'm just out for the rest.
He's done for the year.
Yeah, you got your work out of your way.
3 strikes.
If I get it again next month.
It's a strike system.
Yeah, but then you don't. Then you can relax until next year.
That's right.
So, all right, the wheel chose.
All right, this is my destiny. So this month we're covering I'll Do Anything. Not that I'm not going to do anything, but the movie is I'll Do.
He
anything.
would. Jimmy would.
I mean, get out of this.
Yeah, I'm clearly not trying to get out of this, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like peeling off Band-Aid. Just get it over with. This is a movie about a young actor who's very close to being like I don't know, getting
his big break.
Yeah, getting his big break, but then he doesn't get it. But then he just happens, get married, have a kid, and then just like it kind of falls apart. Something like that. Yeah, well,
yeah, a little bit.
So him and the lady get split up, and eventually, like, he has to take care of the kid, and it's like, the kind of typical hijinks of like dad raising daughter, blah blah blah. But he's also an actor in Hollywood, so like the girl becomes, a child, like almost a child prodigy. So I don't know. It feels like a family film. But then I forget there's a big sex scene and like a little bit of nudity. So then like not exactly a family film.
I forgot about that. So you just said.
Yeah.
It feels more like a feel-good film with a little bit of depth, with family film vibes for young adults. Especially since like this is the generation that like, it's not entirely uncommon to not have kids, like, or have kids in like your mid or early 20s. And then like be in your 30s and be like, oh yeah, not like us.
Yeah, but with a Hollywood flair.
Yeah, with a Hollywood flair. Although you still get the same pretentious Hollywood vibes that you get from today back then. So like not much has changed.
It hasn't changed.
Someone constantly waiting for their big break, and then it almost comes, and then life gets in the way, and there's nothing relatable to this movie at all in the current day.
I feel like this would be a good movie. Like
not for any of us.
Really enjoys like theater and like just movies in general, like cinephiles, like, because like you use kind of like an everyday scenario for just actors.
Yeah, this is inside baseball for sure. That's actually why a lot of people say this didn't do well, because people couldn't relate to it. I would argue that the stuff with the father and the daughter is how you relate to the movie, and then you just happen to see how it's, like you said, through an actor's eyes.
It's taking
Jimmy's description, I think, only talks about like a third of the movie, though.
Oh yeah,
because that's true. Actually, yeah,
there's a couple subplots that take over. The Albert Brooks subplot, for instance.
Oh, right.
He almost shares as much screen time as Nick Nolte in a way, which I didn't know that going in. I knew about the father-daughter stuff. I didn't know about all the Hollywood satire. So I didn't know about the relationship with Albert Brooks, who plays like almost like a John Milius type producer. He gets his voice down kind of raspy, drops a few octaves, and he's very brusque and obstinate, and he's constantly struggling to keep his head above water because his job's in jeopardy constantly, which we see a lot with these studio executives now, especially studio heads.
At least he's not burying films.
Yeah, that's true.
He hadn't
And
learned those
actually, in
tricks yet.
fact, he's almost a little too generous.
Yeah.
But he's also carrying on a relationship with Julie Kavner from The Simpsons.
Who we all know as Marge.
Yes, and Selma.
Oh.
Yeah, she does the sister stuff.
Okay.
See, I recognized the name from the Simpsons credits. I didn't know who she was until she started talking, and I'm like, oh right, that's yeah. And then I couldn't not hear it, but
yeah,
right,
yeah.
I think she's playing like his assistant.
Yeah, I couldn't tell at first because wasn't she the woman as they arrive at a screening to get audience reactions? Wasn't she?
Yeah, she's basically a
presenting it. I thought she was the
She-
presenter, not his assistant.
she was the
Yeah.
one that was like running the demographic
Yeah,
tests.
Right. But as his
she's basi-
assistant, I assume.
No, I think she's a separate. She works for a separate entity.
She was like,
and they just
yeah.
but like they work close because like
She's a studio liaison of some
she
sort.
goes through with the data will make or break him because like he's making a film and like he's doing like test screenings and like she's the one that's doing like gathering the data.
Yeah, I thought her part was fascinating.
I actually thought their storyline was the strongest.
Oh, interesting.
For what's supposed to be just like a subplot relationship, like work relationship thing, they went into a lot of pretty accurate detail about like, you know, positions that no longer exist these days in the industry because nobody does test screenings anymore.
Not in the way this shows.
Not in the way this is, yeah. But it was a very interesting. You know, you don't see any, you know, glorification of that particular role in the industry in any other movies. So it was interesting.
Yeah, that's why I liked her part.
Yeah,
I think quite a bit. She also has an interesting quirk where she hit her head or something and she can't lie anymore.
Which she's
got like sodium pentothal.
She had to go on some medication for depression, and then she had to take another medication for the side effects for the depression, and she had to be on another medication for the side effects for that one, and then it snowballed from there, and it like caused a weird super side effect where she just is just brutally honest and like
and she magically liar
not brutally
herself.
She's just bluntly just flatly honest, like she's
which is a very
there's no motive
thing
behind her. Yeah.
I could see Holly Hunter doing this part, like how she was the character in Broadcast News.
I was
very strong-willed.
Jack Nicholson is brutally honest and as good as it gets. So.
Yeah, he's like this.
Is this like the first film where that like that trope starts up, where like you have that one like just kind of everyday gal that just tells the guys plainly?
I would imagine screwball comedies. That's what it reminds me of.
Blake Edwards
something like
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine something
like you'd think of like someone like Janine Garofalo, like that like that's her typical, like one of her typical roles.
Well, I was trying to say something that I could see Katharine Hepburn doing this role in the 30s or 40s.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. So there's been a long line of that sort of thing. I think this is the first time it's been medically induced.
Yeah.
So the weird thing is, production-wise, this was intended to be a musical.
Oh, thank goodness it wasn't.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And, it was actually they had a bunch of choreographed numbers from like Twyla Tharp, and there was a bunch of songs from Sinead O'Connor, Prince, and Carole King.
Yeah, I have a list. I have a tab open with all the songs that Prince wrote. He apparently has them buried in his archive. I asked our Prince expert friend if he could send some stuff to us that he might have, but he didn't get it to us in time. But there's songs that like you have Julie Kavner singing or Nick Nolte singing. And the one thing I read about of trivia was that Prince came to set and listened to Julie Kavner sing one of the songs and was just stone-faced the whole time and walked off without saying anything to anyone. And then slowly the music got pushed away from this.
Which is weird because Woody Allen would try this again years later with Everybody Says I Love You. But it's weird because when I was watching the movie, I kept thinking, okay, where would they insert the first song? And I think it's right towards the beginning where he's kind of giving Tracy Ullman the ultimatum about him being an actor as opposed to him getting married, and he has like this long pregnant pause. I was like, he'd probably break out in the song right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of times in the movies where I'm just like, I think the song will be right here, and that would put the button on the scene. It
Have you
doesn't
heard
happen that often, honestly. I think the way they re-edited it is seamless. That you
I
wouldn't know
read
it was a musical.
I read that apparently they just sort of go into song out of the blue, so it felt very weird, at least in the test screenings for this. So that's why it sort of was taken out because none of the songs made
Ironically,
sense
test
within.
screenings.
Yeah. There is one song that
Yeah.
remains in the film when the daughter sings to Nick Nolte to cheer him up a little bit. That's a Carole King song that's recorded on her like speak and spell. So it still heard, and that's Carole King's voice, and she's singing over it, the daughter, Whitney Wright.
Feels very Shirley Temple-esque,
Mm-hmm.
that scene.
I liked that though. I am curious how the music actually sounds. Because maybe it didn't gel together, but maybe it's actually good music separately. Who knows? It's all
But now that you're
varied.
saying so, it wasn't them lip syncing to songs. They were singing live on set,
Hmm.
and that's sometimes bad. Like obviously Russell Crowe with Les Mis didn't go over that well.
Some
I
people
can't
like
imagine Nick Nolte with his very
Yeah, his
baritone voice sounded very good, but
I'm just trying to be an actor.
You'd be the one spoken word part.
I do like Nick Nolte's performance, despite
He's
the
great.
potential for terrible singing.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he was very charming. I think his chemistry with the daughter was fantastic. They also look alike. Like I was telling Jimmy, like they have the same chin. That was great casting.
She didn't look anything like Tracy Ullman.
No, but Tracy Ullman isn't in this that much.
Yeah, that was kind of a shame.
Yeah, I thought she
Yeah,
was going to be a
also
bigger part.
not used to seeing Nick Nolte play roles like this.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Heartfelt fatherly roles.
Very vulnerable.
Oh, you know,
roles.
heartfelt
Vulnerable.
fatherly roles in that, like, you know, typical 90s dad style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
'Cause he's
guffaw.
very-
I'll
he's
do
a very
anything for
gruff
my
man.
daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just
Honestly,
they could've made
in a
this-
bad situation.
He's
Yeah.
They
Then I
could've
also
made it-
tend to forget that, like, in the 70s or something like that, like he actually got like not like sexiest man of the year at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
Let me look
which
up
is
what year.
interesting how like the movie like criticizes like how Hollywood's so harsh on people with like a sex appeal that's not up to par with the other sexy actors.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
So
It was very interesting though, because one of the relationships, one of the plot lines is, Nick Nolte's character has relations with the Kathy Breslow, she's more of the assistant role, or she's like a script reader or something, and she's the one who keeps pushing the script for this guy to get cast and all this stuff. And in post Me Too, all of this stuff, it looks like just a regular like reverse industry professional taking advantage of an actor
Uh-huh.
because she wants to bang him.
Yeah.
And it's just
They had a charming name for them, apparently, these script girls, D girls. So I don't know why it was
yes. Well, they were supposed to be development girls. But just because the guy even says that once, he's just like, I'm not a D person, I'm a development executive. Like he just throws that around. But I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Kathy Breslow's character gave me like real stalkerish vibes for a majority of the movie.
I was confused about her motivation too. Like she literally wants to bang him, and then when asked point blank, "Would you bang him?" she's like, "Nah."
I think it plays into the whole like what the movie's like going at in terms of like well, one of the aspects, like I mentioned with the sex appeal, because like she's like one of the more attractive people on the cast. Especially when you compare all the leads, there's probably
Maybe
like
the most,
one or two like side characters that kind of like catch your eye, but like in terms of like the cast, like she's probably the one with the highest sex appeal, and you look at everybody else, they look kind of just average. So and like they're having like real relationships, and then like she's like fawning over Nick Nolte's character, but like she's infatuated with him because like they had like an acting class a long time ago, so they're like there's a little history with them. But then like as the story goes along, you kind of see she's a bit shallow.
Fair enough.
And like any qualities that was endearing is slowly chips away. Especially like the first red flags that I got with, like she would have a nice like fun conversation with the daughter, but then like when the daughter like dragged on a little too long, she got real short and loud and angry quick. And you don't see Nick Nolte's character doing that ever, because like he's trying to be a good father, and she's just some lady that wants to screw him. So like you get like little bits there. So like when you finally get to the tail end of the movie with the
Julie Kavner.
Yeah, when she like tells her like, yeah, no, he's too good for you. Like that's true.
Yeah,
like he is too good for her because he is a genuinely good guy, and like she's kind of it's revealed very slowly and subtly that she's actually kind of a shallow person.
That's a good point.
In the end. Yeah.
I guess I wasn't catching on at the biggest moment where she's kind of being a jerk to him. I felt like it came up out of nowhere. Maybe you were noticing the subtlety more than me.
Yeah, and like when they're talking about his sex appeal with one of the tests that they filmed, like she backed down. Look, so like she clearly doesn't have a backbone. So like no, that's just my take on her.
No, yeah.
You get perceived as selfish, like he's sexy, but like not to everybody, like just to you know.
That's a good point.
Because if I put in that this dude is like a heartthrob, then everybody will be after him. And
it's true.
Yeah.
There's layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. This is a surprise. This is a surprisingly good movie. That's why I said at the beginning of the synopsis, like there's a little depth to this.
The moral is don't trust anyone in Hollywood. That's all.
I was gonna say, having not known that Albert Brooks was in a large part of this movie, I thought he was great. He's hilarious in the role. It's weird that he got nominated for Broadcast News, but he got nominated for this.
He was like the producer part, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was the producer of the movie. In the beginning, they have Nick Nolte come in to read because no one else will read for this part. And he's just like, he's genuinely trying to get a performance out of him. And you can't tell if he's just like sticking around like, we need busy work. But like he then genuinely starts to take an interest. In him.
He's doing that producer double speak.
But
the funny part in that meeting is he's talking to him as if he's the director. He's like, and then at the end of his whole speech, he's like, well, you got to ask him. He's the director, not me.
Yeah.
And
the director
cameo by Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Which
wasn't necessarily famous yet. He was still in a lot of small roles like this.
Sure.
But it's just funny to go back and look and be like, hey.
I was actually I forgot that he was in the movie. He doesn't come back up.
No.
Ever again.
He should have been the director of something else.
And then when he turned him down, he said, "You shall not pass," which was weird.
Yeah, weird that he'd say that.
No, he said, "I shall pass." But I actually did love the relationship between Albert Brooks and Nick Nolte in this, because it started off as like he was just taking advantage of this guy who was desperate for work and like making him drive him around and everything. But then they actually like got to it was almost a Driving Miss Daisy situation where they actually got close doing that. I think more of a relationship blossomed out of that than the one with
Kathy Breslow.
With Kathy Breslow.
Honestly, that's the weakest relationship in the movie, I thought, the Jolie Richardson one. Although it's not intended to be the strongest. So
I think that's the point, yeah.
I'm glad that as Jimmy pointed out, it's left unresolved.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that until we were just discussing it. Like, she goes after him, and then Nick Nolte chooses his daughter over her, and that's your closure. He's saying that to her, I'm going with my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so if there's ever like a sequel, like she has to grow as a person. Or,
I did anything.
Although I think the sequel probably would be like
I'll do anything
the daughter
too.
grew up to be like a Lindsay Lohan type character.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy kept getting worried about. He's like, don't ruin this child. Yeah,
I mean, it's Hollywood.
I want to say I really like Whitney Wright. She's maybe one of my favorite child performances I've seen, because she had a lot of emotion that she could elevate the scene with.
Even the screen test at the end, I think she did a really good job.
Yeah, it got to me, their relationship.
The only big thing she's in is this and Sudden Death.
Yeah, which is pretty good too. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I talked to you about it, Jimmy. I know you didn't.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's right.
It's one of the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. It's funny because Powers Booth
Wait.
is in both this and Sudden Death. He has a little cameo in the beginning because in real life he won the Emmy in 1985 or whatever year it starts in.
It's
So,
funny that you said
Yeah.
Inside Baseball because how many people would even get the reference of the Kiss of the Spider-Woman audition where he's up against Raul Julia?
mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's dated.
Yeah. Well, especially now. I mean, back
Yeah.
then you might because that was
Yeah,
just
because it was
happening.
fresh. It was
Right.
fresh. No.
But like especially the D girls and what Julie Kavner does, that's all stuff people don't know about or need to know about necessarily.
Which
It's
just goes to
obviously
prove that-
stuff that James L. Brooks is involved in. I wonder how much of this is autobiographical. Like I don't know
Oh,
his
I'm sure.
family, I don't know his relationships.
He was involved with Taxi and a bunch of shows, sitcoms back in the 70s. So I'm sure he went through like the testing process and all everything in the Hollywood system.
Yeah, and there's probably little stories that came up that just like, oh, that wouldn't be good on screen. So
Yeah.
there's probably a real person that's very much like Julie Kavner's character.
There's one scene his dialogue's really sparkling and good, but there's one scene with Julie Kavner where I was like, I know she has this truth serum in her, but this scene's not ringing true, at least the dialogue, is
I
when
hope
they're
it's not the
leaving
one I
the
like.
restaurant.
Oh, I love that scene. I thought it was funny. I know it was a little too on the nose.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
But that's
good.
good comedy right there.
It was a good scene, but it was a little overwritten.
I liked the punchline because all the executives are like, yeah, she is right.
I've had that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know it's a little fantastical, but I thought it fit her character.
Actually,
I think I think it was a well placed bit of humor.
Yeah.
well, the shame
Yeah.
thing is he's so well known for voice acting, but between this and Awakenings, she proves that she's actually a really good live action actor too.
Yeah. She plays one of the nurses in Robert De Niro's hospital, relates to Robin Williams as they try to break through to him, if you guys haven't seen that.
Yeah, this is probably the first time I've seen her on screen, probably since like maybe an interview on TV when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish she'd done more stuff. Obviously, she'd made enough money from The Simpsons.
For sure.
So.
Harry Shearer has a small cameo.
Yeah. That was a good scene too. There's a hair and makeup person that both have cameos. That's Rosie O'Donnell and Ken Page. Yeah, I ended up liking this. I don't know what you guys would grade it as, but I actually might put it as like an A-. I liked it quite a bit.
I was gonna get an A+ for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, solid.
I might even give it an A. Yeah, I really liked it.
A.
I don't know.
Because like
It's a nice surprise.
I'm gonna give it a B+. It was a
Gotta
bit all
skew
over the place.
Skew the data.
It
was
This is
cute.
gonna ruin it in the Midwest.
Yeah, well, thanks, Albert.
I'm gonna go with a B. It's the base definition of, and I mean this as a compliment, it's middle brow. But and it is, as Jeff said, it's a little unfocused. And again, it's probably because of the editing and
what was the rating on this movie again?
gotta be R.
Yeah. If
It has to be for the
There's literally
nudity.
you see nudity.
You
like
see
there's
boobies.
Yeah, there's sex.
Yeah, like when she shows up, like when he walks into her house and she's like walks by naked. I was like, wait, what?
She's like, and then she even says, "I was hoping you were gonna find me full frontal."
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then the rest
I feel
of
like
the
this
also
movie
the
was
audience
flag,
was like,
red
"Me."
flag,
Probably
red
would've done
flag.
Yeah, probably would have done a lot better if it was PG-13, or if it was R, like definitely could have used maybe like a couple more F-bombs on something.
That's PG-13.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's-
It was
PG-13,
94.
Yeah.
PG-13 and 94 is like
I'm
an
sticking with
R
that
today.
A.
Plus, they
Because
knew
if
no
it
one
was
would see this.
Yeah, if it was an R-rated movie, then like no, A-.
I was
Makes
just gonna
more
say, in
sense.
terms of James L. Brooks like slice of life movies, I think it's probably one of the more underrated. Then again, I'm not a huge fan of his stuff.
I think that's why I liked this, because it was underrated, because we're doing it for the podcast, so I expected to be bad.
right.
And then when it turned out to be pretty good, I think it elevated it for me.
And also
You know?
based on the budget and how poorly it did. This
Yeah.
cost 40 million and only made 10.
Mhm.
I actually expected this to be a lot goofier. I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah.
This game got
Oh, well.
tossed in the dumping ground. That was February.
There's always got to be something that ends up surprisingly buried, you know?
A hidden
Oh,
gem,
yeah.
if
That's
you will.
why we like
Yeah.
these movies.
You unearth this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we get fool's gold, but this one wasn't.
Nick Nolte in his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
Oh
success.
no. He sounds like an old
Prospector. Yeah, he should have
Oh,
been
yeah.
that. What was that Coen Brothers movie with the prospector played by Tom Waits?
Although I do think
Oh, yeah.
Has-
I remember that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
he
that
should
was
have been
him at first
But
when
True
we
Grit.
first saw it.
Yep.
I was mentioning to Tristan, I'm like, has there ever been a movie where Nick Nolte plays Ryan Reynolds' father? Because that's all I kept seeing
I could see it.
the whole thing. I'm like, I mean, he's like 87 now, but like, it's just, I was like, oh, this dude looks like old Ryan Reynolds at the time.
Or Deadpool Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Now,
with his wrinkles now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is Nick
But-
Nolte's birthday the day this came out, so
Really?
happy birthday, Nick.
I also understand he's had some problems. So
Nick?
Oh, you saw his mugshot?
That came out right out of this. Actually, you were saying the sexiest man alive. That was 92. The mugshot was like 95. So there's a big window from
Is,
sexiest man alive
Wait,
to
was it
mugshot.
92?
How the mighty-
Sexiest man alive? Yeah, I looked it up when you brought it
So
up.
weird. I thought that was
Yeah.
the 70s.
Well, it's because the Prince of Tides had come out, so he was a big box
Oh.
office draw, which Cory was arguing was not the case last episode.
it's a
He
long
was-
fall from the top.
Speaking of being serious, what else came out this month?
Oh well, this movie's not serious since we're going by my ranking.
Okay, yeah.
This is my favorite movie of the month. Romeo's Bleeding.
Hmm.
It's actually a neo-noir with Gary Oldman playing a hitman who's going after a femme fatale played by Lena Olin. Talk about sex appeal. She is very sexy in the movie. Movie itself, the tone veers a lot, but I don't really mind it so much because they negotiate very well, and especially with Gary Oldman in the role. He's able to play all the notes, so he can play screwball, he can play serious.
So is this your favorite of the month, or
Yeah.
the least?
That was
Oh,
my
so
favorite.
you're going the reverse this time.
We're going
Okay.
reverse.
All right.
We're gonna go reverse.
Yeah.
Because the next movie is actually Nick Nolte had another movie came out this month. Also, I don't think it did well, but you know, it's called Blue Chips, and it's actually directed by William Friedkin, who just passed away.
R.I.P.
It's a basketball movie. Nick Nolte plays one of his more traditional roles. He plays a coach on a basketball team. One of the novel things about the movie is the stunt casting of Shaquille O'Neal. It was actually surprisingly good. This is before he started doing like stuff like Kazam. So he must be better at playing doppelgangers of himself.
He literally looks like the Nick Nolte does. He literally is dressed and looks like that Bob Knight.
Bobby
coach,
Knight, yeah.
who also just passed away.
Which I'm sure that's who they based the character on.
Yeah, his haircut looks like him. He's throwing chairs like him. That had just happened in real life.
But yeah, it's even got that William freaking gritty cinema verite style. It's good. One of the best vanity projects of the '90s came out this month, which was Steven Seagal's On Deadly Ground.
I'm trying to guess.
Based on all of his successes with Warner Brothers, they said, "You know what, Steven? You got free rein to direct the movie. Do whatever you want."
Oh, he
Okay.
directed this.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I'm sure he had something to do with the writing, but it's an environmental thriller. I think it's a guilty pleasure because I think the stunts are well done. It's right before he gets really frumpy, so he hasn't put on all the weight yet. Michael Caine chooses scenery as the villain.
Oh,
This oil tycoon.
Hmm.
It's got a lot of that guy casting in the background. So you got Arlie Ermy, Billy Bob Thornton, and John C. McGinley as the henchman. I almost if you're a connoisseur of Steven Seagal's canon, which I know a lot of us are, check it out. A Disney movie that I think a lot of us grew up with called Blank Check came out this month. And I remember this was like the ultimate wish fulfillment movie for me. I'm like, damn, what would I do if I had a blank check?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in years.
I'd buy all the McDonald's I could get.
I don't remember if the movie holds
It's
up.
just a crossover with Richie Rich.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much. It's an interesting premise because Miguel Ferrer, I think, plays a criminal who accidentally hits this kid and then offers him a blank check as compensation, and the kid just puts like $1 million on the blank
Yeah,
check.
right. He could have done a lot more.
Overdraws his account. I remember it being very adorable as a kid. I don't know if it would hold up. Have you seen it more recently? I'm not sure.
No, I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I've actually never seen it. I just remember watching the trailer on the VHS, like whatever other VHSs I was renting at the time.
Hey,
Yeah,
kid.
I was like, this looks really fun. And my parents were like, this is
a
a terrible idea for him to watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody from In Living Color had their big break this month. And that man is Jim Carrey.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Ace Ventura: Pet Detective came out and was a huge smash.
And this is your least favorite?
It just doesn't hold up as well as the other movies that he has that come out this year.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the year of Jim Carrey.
Yes.
This is his big thing. Like,
well, this
makes the most money of anyone in a year, like ever.
At the time this was coming out, everybody kept predicting this was going to be a huge bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And the critics savaged it. Siskel and Ebert hated it. They said he was one of the worst new stars. They later recanted that and did a whole show dedicated to him. But in retrospect, the movie's decent. He has a few scenes where it's vintage Jim Carrey, Rubber Man, but the transphobic stuff does not play nowadays.
Oh, so this is the one.
Oh, right.
The three
the
I have
Finkel
not seen.
Einhorn bit.
Yeah, the Finkel Einhorn stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm in for a treat.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Yeah, so this is one of the three I never saw.
Oh, okay.
Because we'll obviously talk about his other two big films
twist.
later in the year as they come out. But this was the big break, and I remember when it came out, everyone was like going crazy over it. I'm like, that dumb movie? Everyone wants to see that shit? So I didn't bother with it. My parents didn't want to see it, so I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
And then he got more and more famous, and we were all like, The Mask looks good. Let's watch that. I didn't see Dumb and Dumber for even a decade.
I was obsessed with The Mask.
Me too.
Yeah, The Mask is the best of the three, I think. Though, again, I haven't seen Ace Ventura, so maybe I'll love it despite its misgivings.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll revisit this.
I've seen the sequel.
Sequel's good.
Saw it in theaters.
I saw it. Yeah, it was packed. So the worst movie that came out this month, in my opinion, is they did a remake of The Getaway, the Steve McQueen classic.
Yep.
But instead of it being Steve McQueen and Ally McGraw, it's Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. And again, just because they're married, their chemistry doesn't translate to screen. They have very explicit sex scenes. The best part of the movie is James Woods as the villain, because he taunts Alec Baldwin's manhood because he sleeps with her.
Okay.
And he keeps rubbing it in his face. But yeah, this is around the time that Alec Baldwin was still trying to be the lead of movies, but he wasn't picking good projects.
Yeah, so he's starting to fade.
Yeah, he's starting to fade a bit.
Yeah.
So like The Shadow was around this time. I think it was this year or next year.
I thought it was this year.
So yeah, with these movies not doing well, he would start to get relegated more towards supporting roles, which is where I think he excels.
Mm-hmm.
And him trying to take on the mantle of Steve McQueen's just foolhardy at best from the beginning.
Let's see. Let's get to Jeff's poster. So I got two for you this month because I shouldn't have said that already. I should have prepared you for that. I didn't want to get distracted.
Oh, this looks like some sort of yeehaw kind of movie.
Yes, it does. It is clearly
you like this editing?
I do. It's a rodeo cowboy in full blur. Like this bull is going to town. Apparently stars Luke Perry, Stephen Baldwin, and Cynthia Geary.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make you try to figure out who that is.
Of Lane Frost. Yeah,
you know Lane Frost, right?
I assumed it was a Baldwin, but that would have been wrong. I don't know Lane Frost.
Yeah, good.
I'm not up and up.
The funny part is,
rodeo
I watched this in preparation for the podcast.
Really?
I still didn't know it was based on a true story. Maybe they said that at the beginning, but it went by so fast I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Okay, so the title Rodeo is probably too on the nose.
Yeah,
so,
but it's not much more depth.
Buck
Actually,
and
think about what
Ride.
happens in rodeo. Do you know anything about rodeo?
Buck and Ride. No. I mean, other than they try to stay on the thing.
Right? Do you know anything
Try to
about that
stay on.
specifically?
Brokeback Mountain?
Keep breaking backs.
How long do they have to stay on the bull?
But
I
30
I don't know if
seconds.
that's
I don't know.
standard. Is that
30-second break.
It is.
I don't know.
No. It was gonna be tough either way, but I just wanted to show you.
It's a rodeo movie. I know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, it's not going by.
Is there a fun
hours.
tagline? I want to read a fun tagline. Is it breakneck? The sport made him a legend. His heart made him a hero. Did this guy
Why did they capitalize Legend
paralyzed?
of Hero?
I don't know. Because
From the director of Rocky and the Karate Kid?
That's true. John
Wait.
L.
John G.
Avildsen.
Avildsen.
The guy, I had no idea that the same guy did. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Big
Rocky
on
Karate
sports
Kid.
movies.
He's a huge director.
I mean,
and no
Karate
one
Kid
gives him
is
his
basically
respect.
Rocky for children, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
kinda is.
It's not wrong.
So that's why he did a good job.
right. Okay. The sport made him a legend. His heart made him a hero. So he gets paralyzed and ends up trying to recover and becoming in it. He's I don't know. I'm trying to think. He would be like the Christopher Reeve of rodeos.
Oh my god.
Cut that
I'm not.
out there.
That happens
No,
this year.
I'm genuinely like
I
not.
think.
I mean, like an inspiration wise, not like
Oh,
he
okay.
got fucked up. Like I'm genuinely like I meant that in a positive way, and I'm sorry. If that did
Sounds
not.
positive.
Okay,
geez.
well,
His spine
Let's try to-
disagrees.
I was trying to think of the cleanest way to get across what I was saying. So, apologies.
Oh, that happens next year. It's May 95 when he gets injured. That's insensitive, Jeffrey.
I apologize.
I'm
Please
just
don't
an
cancel.
American.
That's
Please
kind of
don't
thing I
cancel
would
me.
have said. How dare
Yeah, that's a very Coryism. Anyway,
Okay, so then what happens?
8 seconds.
8 seconds. It's only 8 seconds?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what the timing is. That's what I always thought. I've never seen this.
I didn't know
have
that
no
was the
idea.
standard yet.
Or is it like in 8 seconds his life changes? Like that's what I
Why
was.
is 8 seconds called 8 seconds?
I'm sure that's the
all.
reason. That's how long you gotta stay on there. But
Yeah, no, it's to stay aboard a bucking bull to score any points in the rodeo.
Mm.
So like 16
See-
seconds is like
see,
but he
here's-
stays on. He stays on 16 seconds at the end as
That's not good.
Well, here's
Does it end very sadly? Because
Yeah, he dies.
yeah, okay.
see.
Spoilers.
Okay, so I wasn't wrong.
You're right. Yeah, literally says died in '89
Don't cancel me, I
on the
guess.
back of a bull in
but-
Cheyenne.
See, I think it would be terrible if like, you know, he's this big rodeo guy who makes a living off of like surviving 8 seconds at a time, and then it dives deeper into his love life.
You're making this better.
Also
than it
8
actually
seconds
was.
at a time.
Oh God! Hey, that was a good joke.
Hey.
So he
Hey.
died, and then 34 years later, you got points on a trivial podcast for a sex joke.
What I'm saying
Well,
is
that's
he
a
has longer
tribute to the
back of
guy
a
that's
bull
never gonna be.
than he does in his relationships.
Hey.
I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. I don't know this person, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he
Go
was
ahead,
great.
why-
I'm sure he was great at what he did.
Why don't you say something bad about Luke Perry? He just died. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did he? I don't know anything about Luke Perry enough to.
All right, you got enough points on this one. Did you like the Photoshop? Because I didn't touch it.
Yeah,
This
it
is
looks
the
like that.
actual
That's the
blur.
best part.
It looked like he's.
Nope, didn't touch it at all.
That's great.
I should have made it less blurry. That would have been funnier.
Right? You just fixed it.
This is why we wanted to include this, because it was kind of a joke that it's like already blurred like I've been
Yeah.
doing for these. So this was the real one if that didn't work out well, but that worked out very well. I like
This actually seems genius. Okay, so it's white background with a blue and black square with graffiti all over it that literally says movie poster.
Yep.
Trust, relationships,
This is actually
communication,
a good
jobs.
movie, so.
Hey, that's my bike. Love, buzzwords, credit cards, friends, decaf, romance,
Say buzzword,
subliminal
yeah.
message, channel surfing. I have absolutely no idea what this could be,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, I mean, from this, what would you say
it's
a plot is? I'll
it's
give
some
you
sort of
more.
like punk underground romantic, like we're all cynics, let's get together
Wow, he's pretty
type
much
movie.
got it.
Yeah, you got it. That's basically the plot of the movie.
Okay.
Guessing the director is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Jim Jarmusch. I don't.
No, they're going to come up as one of the actors, so that's your hint.
Okay.
It's their directorial debut.
Okay. Is it Ben Stiller?
What?
Do you know this
How'd
movie?
you know that?
Wait, what? No, that was just a guess.
Yeah,
How did you
that's
know that?
really.
Because we talked about this we talked about this on the last one,
Did
I
we?
think.
Oh, we talk about singles.
Or no, who was I talking to? I don't know. I was having a recent conversation about how I like Ben Stiller as a director. So it
Well,
was
because he's
top of
been doing
mind.
Severance recently, so
Well, he also did Tropic Thunder.
Again.
right, and that's come up because Robert
And a bunch
Downey
of other
Jr. is
stuff.
probably going to win an Oscar. So
Right.
I guess like that's been in the
Fair.
zeitgeist again.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's actually a really good
Okay.
director.
he is
So
a good
then-
director.
Okay.
So yeah, then you obviously know that he's in here.
Yeah. So it's
What
Ben
do I do
Stiller.
now? Oh, I give you the so the title's going to come up. Do not look at the credits. I forgot to edit that out. But
I'm not looking at the credits.
right above it is the catchphrase. So try not to look right below it.
A comedy about love in the 90s. Had Rent come out yet? Because I feel like this would just be a parody of Rent.
2005, but yes, the play had.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah, this is
send-up
around
of-
when I believe Rent was out. I think 92, but
It's just a send up of Rent. Is it called Grunge?
it is a little grungy.
I
One of
think the one character is actually a grunge singer or musician.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Teen Spirit?
You can see that there's a bit
I
of
think-
the blue missing, right?
Is the title like a pun? Yeah, the
No.
blue's missing because I imagine that's where the actors are because you
Yes.
photoshopped
So
them out.
Ben Stiller is going to be one of them, but can you guess what the other two actors are now that you've sort
Absolutely
of
not.
gotten it? Okay.
To say
And
one would not be the other, unless one of them is a Wilson.
That was before he was collaborating with Owen.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do
Is it some
So-
sort of like vampire bullshit?
No, you had pretty much gotten it. There's not much else to the plot, so I think the next thing is to guess who they are, and you already got Ben Stiller, so I'm honestly
Okay, Ben
impressed
Stiller.
enough.
John Cusack, maybe.
You know what's funny is Jimmy brought up one of the supporting actors in the movie already.
Who?
Wait,
Oh,
what?
Janine Garofalo. Yeah, she's
Stephen Dorff
yeah.
in this.
No. Yeah, you want to
I'll
guess
say-
one
I'm trying to
more?
think of
He
who
hasn't
else would have been in.
collaborated with these other
Who
two
else?
people since.
Who
so-
else would have been in Mystery Men? I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
Paul
but he didn't
Rubens? No.
collaborate with them again. Guess one more actor and one more
I don't think
actress,
so.
and then I'll just give them to you.
Okay, Paul Rubens.
Who would be popular around the 90s? That has never done anything else but this movie with him.
Yeah. pretty sure.
I don't know, because early 90s, I'm trying to. Because that's the problem is you're trying to make me guess an actress that never got like popular past this movie.
No,
Oh, they
she's
got
huge.
popular.
Oh,
Cory
They
and I
were
were
pop-
talking about it before this.
Cameron Diaz. No, because she was The Mask. Was her debut.
or breakout.
Sandra Bullock.
Good guess.
They
Okay.
actually got a big sequel coming out this year.
You want
that
to try one
means-
more
That
actor?
means nothing to me. One more actor. Josh Hartnett.
No, too young.
Too young.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is
Good-
94. So
Good
he's like
guess because he kind of
24.
looks like him, but
Oh wait, is that Winona Ryder?
yes, it is.
Huh.
Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
So it was one of the
Would
first films,
would
I
never have
watched
pictured the three of
when-
them together in the same movie.
I know.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. He's kind of a yuppie, Ben Stiller, and Ethan Hawke is kind of grungy, and Winona Ryder
Yes.
has to choose between both of them. Well, she wants to fight the man. So,
The man
Neat.
played by John Mahoney.
yeah. Because she thinks that she wants to be like a bohemian.
Yeah.
But she has to choose between safety in the financial world
Why
or
not?
fun.
So it's literally Rent.
It
You know
is.
what's funny? I
He's
think
basically
Dean
Roger, and he's
Garofalo-
basically the other one.
Dean Garofalo goes to get tested for
He's
AIDS.
Benny.
Yeah. Steve Zahn is gay as well. This is one of the first films that actually talks about being gay,
Yeah.
at least as fully as they do in this. So, as openly. But they're all sort of friends, and obviously there's this love triangle at the center.
It's actually a good movie.
Yeah, I like it. This was one of the first
Yeah.
things I watched with Rebecca when we started dating, because this was one of her favorite films, and somehow, as a huge Winona Ryder fan, I'd never seen it.
I'll have to look into that then.
Yeah, it was worth it. It's a fantastic film.
Two guys, a girl, in a bad situation.
They don't
Yeah.
have
What would
pizza
you
places.
call this since you don't remember the name?
It's literally what I would call it.
Yeah.
Unwieldy title.
Nothing. Yeah, well, those don't happen until it's just name it after a Panic at the Disco song.
Like Fall Out Boy.
Bringing up Bridget. I don't know.
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna put your misery.
Okay.
So this is just in case you couldn't tell who they were.
Winona Ryder looks way different below that credit.
Reality Bites. I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
I
good.
thought it was a vampire movie though. That's what threw me.
Is that why you guessed vampires?
I think it is.
Okay.
Plus the blue tint has.
I think this movie
Pennywise.
would. This is probably a great movie. It would be better if they were vampires. Especially look at that font. That font is clearly like
the red fangs.
Yeah.
the red font. Like it's
Waiting for Anne
they're
Rice,
they're
yeah.
baiting you into thinking it's a vampire comedy.
Actually, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, so how did Reality Bites do?
I think
This
it
is
did
pretty
okay.
popular,
It
right?
obviously did well enough that he could direct the Cable Guy.
Right. Which is like his blank check to do whatever he wants.
Oh, that's what it was. I remember that I found out that he directed The Cable Guy. That's what,
You know,
That's funny.
probably one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies.
well, because I was reading about it was one of those listicles about like creepy protagonists in popular 90s movies.
Yeah.
And then they're
And
like, Ben
that's
Stiller's director.
That's Jim Carrey's follow-up to The Best Year of His Life. It's a good movie. I like Reality Bites a lot. We decided before the podcast that we are going to cover for picks of the month the star of our feature film, Nick Nolte, and pick our suggestion for you all. What other movies you could watch?
I'll start since I had to do the synopsis.
Yeah,
Over
sure.
the hedge.
See, I knew that's what
I
Cory
knew
thought,
that was
yeah.
one of. I knew one of the two was gonna
Yeah.
pick that.
Yeah, over the hedge.
Wait,
yeah.
which one did
He
pick
picked
over
I
the
said
hedge?
over the hedge, boy. Come on, pay attention.
Okay.
Oh, did you not pick Over the Hedge, Jeff?
I did not.
Oh,
Ooh.
we got you,
Shocked,
Cory.
actually. That's why
I thought you were going to pick that one too.
Hulk.
Of course.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I like Ang Lee's Hulk.
Replaced Bruce Banner's father.
Jeff and I
You
saw
want
that
to
in
watch
theaters
me
together.
go? You watch me go. Remember when we played
Jeff-
the cable?
Yeah, Jeff and I were good friends by then, so we saw that in theaters together.
I was a very big fan of.
And that's where I learned
movie.
that long
I like
movies
that
would not be
movie.
kind to your bladder.
Was
Yeah.
that movie that long?
Well, I remember both of us seeing that in Pirates of the Caribbean that summer, and both of us really having to go like
Pirates
an hour
is
in.
long.
Yeah, they were rough on
Rough.
us.
Yeah.
But my choice is
Thanks,
Cape
Jeff.
Fear.
I think I don't like that.
I like Cape Fear a lot. Why did you think I didn't like it?
Oh, because I feel like when we watched it, you didn't care for it too much.
I watched it on my own. I borrowed it from you.
Okay, that's what
It took me forever to get to it. That's what I think you're thinking.
was.
Because I was never in the mood.
I think it's a little campy.
It felt
You're
like
never
I had
in
to,
the mood.
I had to. Let's talk about this later.
Not what Rebecca said.
I feel like I just was never interested in watching it because it felt like homework because it was like one of the few Scorsese films I had never gotten to.
Yeah.
But then it was a surprise that Nick Nolte is actually pretty good because all I'd heard was like how great Robert De Niro is in Cape Fear. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a backup in case someone else picked Cape Fear, but I don't know if you're gonna pick this other one.
Weird, because I want to go with two of them, but I'm like,
Sure, yeah, I have a backup. Like we can mention other
Okay.
things he's done. We may not cover him
His-
again.
his best acting to me is Affliction, which is Paul Schrader movie, and talk about great casting. James Coburn plays his alcoholic dad.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Affliction, it's great casting.
Yeah.
But if I had to go with the movie I've seen the most, is the movie I like the most. It's 48 Hours.
Of course.
Him
Yeah.
and Eddie Murphy have great chemistry.
He got an Oscar nomination for Affliction.
Yeah, Coburn got nominated, I think, too, right?
I think he won. That's
Okay, that
Coburn's
makes
that's
sense.
Coburn's Oscar, I believe.
It's amazing.
But yeah, he also got a nomination for Prince of Tides, which we know is pretty big. The other choice I had was Hotel Rwanda, Like in a movie where Don Cheadle obviously
Oh,
shines.
yeah, that is a good movie.
He has a decent role as is he a photographer that comes
Well, no,
through?
UN
No,
General.
he's
the UN general? Okay, I haven't
UN
seen the one.
general.
Or Colonel.
Joaquin
The
Phoenix
UN
plays the
guy in charge.
photographer.
Oh, okay. I mixed up what their parts were. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thin Red Line,
yeah,
he's great too.
Yeah. No, Nick Nolte is probably the only white man that could pull that line off.
Oh, the end.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. I'm remembering it now.
Well, he's in terms of like soldier roles, he's also really good in Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
So that would
my favorite
my
Terrence
first
Malick
choice.
movie.
I went with Over the Hedge.
Speaking of
it's better
Thin
than
Red Line.
Man.
Speaking of Thin Red Line, that's the year he's nominated for Affliction. He loses to Roberto Benigni.
Okay.
He's also nominated against Ian McKellen for Gods and Monsters. Yeah, those are all good choices. He's had a good career, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
Not great personal life.
What are you talking about? Martin Short's got a great story about.
He does love salt.
Because that's what he could play a salty fella.
You're not gonna tell a story.
No, I'll tell a story.
I couldn't find it. I tried to find it on YouTube.
Yeah, they took it off.
Oh.
Martin Short did a remake of a French film called Three Fugitives with Nick Nolte, and he was told beforehand they were gonna have a dinner before they started shooting that you gotta be careful around Nick Nolte because he's on the wagon right now. So they go out and they're going around the table asking for drink orders, and Nick Nolte goes, Jack Daniels. And Martin Short's looking around like, is this okay? I don't know about this. So he said by the next hour, Nick Nolte was drunkenly leaning over people going, you ever salt your food? I like to salt my food. You ever walk into a room and a guy, fuck it.
Literally
the most
the
uncomfortable dinner he ever went to.
Yeah. So Cory and I are often just like out of the blue, we'll be like, do you salt your food to each other?
And then
we've been doing that for a decade.
I remember
the
punchline at the end was
each other.
Martin Short was just like, well, this is going to be an interesting 2-month shoot.
Yep. And it was. I read something looking this up that apparently he does think fondly of Three Fugitives, even if it didn't do that well.
Sure. The movie's not good.
Yeah. But this was good. This was fine.
This episode was good.
And Nick Nolte was pretty good in it. So, I have no idea what we're doing next month. I did not look it up. Do you remember?
Let's spin the wheel.
We're actually talking about one of Tristan's favorite Nicolas Cage films.
Oh, that's this month already. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is my introduction to Nicolas Cage.
Crazy.
Yeah. He plays a Secret Service agent who's thrust into detail for a former first lady, and he's like, oh God, I'm basically in Siberia. But what he finds means more to him than he'll ever know.
Finds love along the way.
Yeah, that's great. It's a fantastic film.
Before he stole the Declaration of Independence, he stole our hearts.
This was all subterfuge so he could get in there.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, this is a plot. This is the long con.
It's the long,
yeah.
The long Con Air.
Uh-huh. Oh. Yeah. So I'm very excited about talking
that's a little bit rocky.
I don't know that you'll like this, but because this is plenty cheesy, but this kind of film is what epitomizes the 90s to me. So we'll see. We'll see how you guys like it. Anyway, you all have a good rest of your month. Hope you enjoy the extra day we're about to get. Do you have any plans for weekday? Just sleep in.
No, it's a movie about a guy who died from a hamburger overdose.